Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for clicking on today's video. In 2024, my goal was to read 60 books, and my grand total for all the books I read last year was 93 books. I didn't think I'd ever read that many books in a year. I was shocked when I hit the 20 book mark. Let's go over some of the statistics of my reading from last year. I'm only going to be using Goodreads for this. They have really good wrap-ups, like Spotify Wrapped, or if you have Apple Music, Apple Wrapped. So in total, in my year of books, I read 93 books, and that is 40,000 pages, which is insanity. The shortest book I read was 12, which was a novella at 144 pages, but then the longest book was Stephen King's It of 1,116 pages. Average book length was 439 pages. The most shelved book is Twilight. The least shelved book was The Maverick. My average rating for Goodreads is a 3.5, and I think I'd have to definitely agree with that statement. I did not get a lot of 5-star books this year. I read a lot of, I don't want to say mediocre books, but I feel like I read a lot of mid-tier books, and I'm not a high rater. I'm a very harsh rater when it comes to reading, so I feel like 3.5 is pretty adequate. The highest rated on Goodreads that I have on here apparently is Queen of Shadows. And then my first review of the year was Bright Young Women, and I said that was utterly insufferable. I hold that still. It was utterly insufferable. Now let's go over what I have as far as like the tiers. We'll start at the bottom and then work our way up to the top. So the first one is honestly why. Why did this get past publishing? How did this get through the editor? Why is this a book? Just why? The next one above that is disappointed. You know, books I was disappointed of. I feel like that's self-explanatory. The next one is I forgot you existed, but I'd recommend it. So it's like, yeah, I read that. Yeah, I had a good time reading it. I don't really remember the plot of it, but I think you would like it. The next one's she's cute. You know, it's a mid-feeling book. And then we have I loved this. Like, this is like my 475 reads. You know, these are books that I loved, like, dearly, and I won't shut up about it. But then we also have our last tier, which is lives rent-free. This book lives rent-free in my brain. I'm constantly thinking about it. These are like 6-star reads, or just books in general that I love, and I will hear no criticism on it, and that's it. Those are all the rankings that we were going to be going through. Let's now start a screen recording. Don't mind, I suppose, the giant freaking ad. So, starting with Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. I think I want to say she's cute. I didn't really like this book very much. I don't know, I'm not a big cozy mysteries fan. Actually, we'll bump it down one more. This book was disappointing. And I want to say it was disappointing because I was just bored. The next book, Twilight. She's cute. I feel like that's probably the highest I could go because it's literally a quintessential teen 2000s book. 2012 was really a year when a whole bunch of books came out, and Twilight is just one of them. City of Bones. Oh man. Like, I love that book. I feel like I have like a love-hate relationship with the City of Bones in particular. This was a 5-star read for me when I was a kid. Now as an adult, I feel like it just doesn't hold up. No, I think I'm gonna put I still love it. And I think it has to go with like the entire trilogy. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it just holds a special place in my heart. So where's the other ones at? Oh, there they are. They're right next to each other. City of Ashes and City of Glass. Alright, next. Stephen King's It. I loved this book. It is a 4-star book for me, and that is no higher. If you've read the book before and you know what scenes that come to your brain of like, what the hell did I just read? Like, why? For some of the scenes that were written in this book, I think that's an adequate place for that to live. Okay, next one. The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. I forgot you existed, but I would recommend it. So I read this book because Ian recommended me to read it, and I think the book is really good. I had a really good time reading it. I don't know what it was in particular. I had a hard time reading that book. I think if I were to read it again or just continue the series, I think this will be definitely like a 4.5, 5-star series for me. But I think it's really good, and if you like high fantasy books, I think you should try Joe Abercrombie. Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. Don't come at me, okay? But I really want to put in here is she's cute. It's like a story of girlhood. It's about these two best friends. You're following them throughout their lives from I think the 70s all the way to the early 2000s. It's really good. I just found myself getting really pissed off at one character, and I'm sure if everyone has read that book, you know which one I'm talking about. I just don't look at that book as fondly as other people do, which kind of bums me out a little bit, but I still think it's a really good book, and I think I would reread it, I think, in a few years. I feel like She's Cute is not a high enough rating for it. You know what? I'm gonna add one right here. We're already off to a great start. I'm adding things in here and whatnot. I think she's cute, but I think I want to reread it again. Alright, A Discovery of Witches. It was disappointing because I went into this book thinking it was gonna be this dark academia kind of feeling book with magic and witches and wizards and vampires, but I ended up becoming so utterly bored. Our main character is trying to find this manuscript because she gets her hands on it, then loses it. And then just by touching it, a whole bunch of other supernatural people are trying to come after her for this manuscript. And instead of progressing the plot in any shape, way, or form, we follow her going to the library, going on runs, going to the gym. I just was very disappointed by that book. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Honestly, I think she was cute. Erin Morgenstern's writing, to me, I think is an acquired taste. And I think I liked this book more than her other one. A lot of people really like The Starless Sea, and I had a really hard time reading that one. I think I would try and reread it. It wasn't my favorite, so I think I would put I Forgot You Existed, but I would recommend it if you like those kind of books. But I definitely like The Night Circus more out of the two. Zodiac, not to be confused with Zodiac Academy, and honestly, why? I didn't like this book at all. I thought the very beginning of the book had a really good premise because you're following this teenager, and she's goes to school, I think out in the solar system somewhere. She's gifted with reading the stars, and she's telling the people at this school hey, something bad's about to happen. And they're like, yeah, but you can't read, so we don't believe you. And then this catastrophe happens and a whole bunch of people die and stuff. And I was like, whoa, she predicted this thing. That's super cool. Then she gets roped into becoming a leader of some sort, and it has a really good premise, but the execution of this book was so poorly done, I just couldn't keep going. And I think young adults, which I think this is what the book was meant for, would really enjoy it. Me personally, I didn't like it. The next one is In the Kingdom of Ice. This was my very first nonfiction of the year, and I had a lot of fun reading it. Both The Kingdom of Ice and The Endurance are express expeditions. So in The Kingdom of Ice, they're going to the North Pole. Their ship gets landlocked in ice, and then they have to walk back to Russia on foot with their sled dogs. And I think that's the same thing with The Endurance. I think it's the South Pole instead. This is a harrowing tale. I want to say I actually loved it. It doesn't live rent-free in my brain or anything. It's got some triggering stuff in there, because if you think about this being a true story and they have dogs, we all know what happens to the dogs. And that's the same thing with The Endurance. And as soon as a very graphic scene of the dogs, I had to stop. So I DNF'd Endurance. Oh good god, A Little Life. This is actually going to be my first It Lives Rent-Free. Here's my hear me out cake for this book. This is not everyone's book. It has very triggering things inside of it. It's so beautifully written though. The prose of this book is top tier. I think if people are talking this much about a book, if it's either a yes or no, that author did a kick-ass job. And I mean that in a way of she really got people's emotions going, and I really just don't think this book is for everybody. It really is not. But I think about these characters all the time and the things that these characters go through all the time. I loved this book. 1,000 Boy Kisses. Honestly, why? Honestly, why? I think that book was literally meant to make people cry. Sure, the romance is cute, but to what end? I wish I didn't read that. I kind of wish I could delete that book out of my brain, to be honest with you. Bad Blood. You know what? I think it was cute. I didn't really like the ending very much of the book, though, to be 100% honest. I think it was well-rounded. I think the whole series was really good. I just wish the ending was a little bit different. I think 12 is just a feel-good book. It's selective. I don't think you have to read 12. You know what? I'm gonna move Bad Blood up with I Love This, and put the rest of the series up there because I think the whole series as a whole is really good. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Honestly, I forgot you existed, but I had a lot of fun reading it. It's a cozy mystery, and I love the whole Groundhog Day trope. I think I really want to try out this author more. Stuart Torton, I think? No Exit by Taylor Adams. No, I think I would put this one right there because out of the 2 Taylor Adams books that I've read this year, this one is my favorite, but I don't really like either of them that much. Girl's coming home from Christmas Eve. She gets stuck in a snowstorm and then gets stranded at a rest stop, and at that rest stop she sees this girl locked in a van, and she has to survive being at this rest stop and try to get the girl to safety. The premise is good. I just think the book is a little dragged out for me personally. I had fun reading it though. I would recommend it. A Winter's Promise. I was disappointed. I think the premise of the book was really good. I had a really good time with it in the beginning, but after the first couple chapters happened, I was so lost. I couldn't even tell you really what the plot was. I feel like our main character was being used and abused a lot. I have some problems in general with this book because it's been targeted as a young adult book, and there's some stuff in this book I don't think is for a young adult to read. That's just my own personal thought on the book. Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. Also a disappointed. I was very disappointed actually with this because that whole premise of this book was good. I had a really good time, but that ending just pissed me off. Stephen King's Pet Sematary. Okay, this goes and I loved it. I love this book. This was my very first Stephen King book in the entire year. It is such a great Stephen King book to start with because it's not overly graphic, it's not overly scary, it has a really good premise to it, and the ending is absolute insanity, and it's a standalone. I think if you want to start Stephen King, do it as an audiobook and read Pet Sematary. Oh my god, My Dark Vanessa. I never rated it on Goodreads because I don't know how to rate it. Part of me wants to go, honestly, why? Because it's so freaking crazy. Yeah, it's not a bad book. I actually really like this book. I think it would probably be near the 4-star range if I would put like a number on it. If you don't know what My Dark Vanessa is about, it's about a 14-year-old having relations with her English teacher while she's in school. This is not a romance book. This is a fiction book. This is along the lines of A Little Life. So if you like dark books, go for it. I read all these darker books for a video and it didn't see the light of day. And you know what, that's okay. Because no one needs to see me ugly cry about books. But you would have seen me definitely be grossed out and baffled by what I was reading in My Dark Vanessa. It's not like a favorite of mine. And I wouldn't really like go out recommending it. I don't know. I think honestly why. It was so twisted. Zodiac Academy. So this is the first one. Oh, I love that. I have definitely become a Zodiac fan. It is very fun and very entertaining. You really do have to get through the first 2 books. So I'm definitely gonna put She's Cute, but the other 2 are definitely like, I love this. Like, I think after book number 4, it's gonna become a 5-star series. By a Thread by Lucy Score. Honestly, I forgot you existed, but I guess I would recommend it. It was fine. This was my first Lucy Score book. I think this is a rom-com, or it's supposed to be a rom-com. I didn't really get those vibes very much, and I found the book dragging, but I felt like the book wasn't slow burny per se. It was more like the guy's a giant horn dog. Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is kind of hard to put. She's Cute, maybe? I had a good time reading it. The very beginning of the book really lost me, but it got better as we progressed. Yeah, she's cute. The whole world that Leigh Bardugo created for Ninth House was actually very intriguing. I just don't think about it very often. In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife. Okay, low key though, I forgot that existed. It's fun. I had a good time reading it. It felt so discombobulated. All the characters are not likable, but I kind of lived for it at the same time. I think a lot of people say this is like the non-Shakespearean version of If We Were Villains. Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I loved that book. That was so good. It was so perfect. This whole book was perfect. Everything that Addie LaRue goes through and stands for, and the pictures that were painted in that book, I loved it. I loved every second of it. The Queen of Nothing. I forgot you existed. Honestly, the whole entire Brutal Prince, is that what it's called? The Cruel Prince. Jude is such an anti-hero. I really like Jude a lot. Like, I think her character is my favorite. She really kicks ass, but I just did not care for the entire trilogy at all. And I find that kind of a bummer. Finale by Stephanie Gerber. Same thing. I forgot you existed, but I would recommend it. No, actually, I definitely liked it more. Like, I think the whole Caraval trilogy is actually quite fun. It leaves a lot of open ends for Once Upon a Broken Heart. Like, I'm excited to see, after reading Caraval, how Once Upon a Broken Heart's gonna go, because a lot of people read that trilogy first, then went back to Caraval. Beach read. Okay, I'm going to instantly stick this into the reread category. My reasoning is I read a lot of Emily Henry books back to back. I remember reading the book. I remember enjoying the book. I think I read the book too fast. Does anyone ever have that problem? People We Meet on Vacation. Okay, I love this book, and I don't understand why people don't like it. Alex is honestly a top tier book boyfriend. I loved him. I loved it a lot, actually. I had a really good time reading it. Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue. Oh my god. She's cute. I wouldn't go any higher than that. It's got some stuff in there that is questionable. He says BB girl one too many times for me. I don't know. Kind of cringed me a little bit. The book was fine. I had a really good time reading it, and I plan on reading the rest of the Souls books. The Patriot. Also, I loved this book. I think this was a great start to the Hayden series. This is following a soldier. His name's Wes, and he wants to take over the family farm. But the whole rule is he has to get married in order to inherit. And then there's this girl named Dakota. I don't know if she's like a real estate agent, but she's going in and buying a part of his land. It gives me massive Yellowstone vibes. The Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Low-key loved this book. This book, and then Part of the Sun Warrior. You're following this girl named Xingyan. Her mother has been locked on the moon due to the Emperor because she did something bad. Someone comes to visit the Moon Goddess, and her daughter's not supposed to be there. So Xingyan escapes the moon and doesn't tell anybody about her heritage and infiltrates the Emperor's palace. The only thing she wants to do is free her mom. That's all she cares about. This story is amazing, and the ending of the story was so perfect. Heart of the Sun Warrior was amazing. I loved these books. Highly recommend you guys to read them. Babel by R.F. Kuang. I forgot you existed, but I'd recommend it. I think the book was really fun. I think if you love heavy political books, I think you'll really like this. I think the story itself was really good and entertaining, but the execution of it felt like I was reading a history book. The Watchers by A.M. Shine. Also I forgot you existed, but I would recommend it. It feels like an old folklore tale, but make it horror. It's very obscure. I feel like it's very niche. The whole premise of this book is a whole bunch of people are living in this cabin in the woods, but they can't go out at night because there's these things called the Watchers. So if you get trapped in this building in the middle of this forest, you're stuck there. You can't ever leave. We read it for book club, and then we watched the movie, and the movie was really weird. It's an acquired taste. One Dark Window. I think this book is cute, but I think the second one is so much better. And I think the whole premise of the Shepherd King duology is super fascinating because it's like based off of these cards. The whole world feels dark and gray and gloomy, and there's this mist and stuff that will kill you if you don't have like a little effigy or something to keep you alive. I think it's super interesting. If you like dark gothic fantasy novels, I think you will really like it. Nightbane. Honestly, I was disappointed, and I'm gonna put both that one and Lightlark in the disappointed section. Nightbane, I DNF'd it. Lightlark, I finished, and I was not happy about it. I thought Lightlark's premise in the beginning was good, but it felt like every other fantasy book that's out there. They said they had these games and trials. I really didn't feel like they were all that high of a stake. Like, we have this guy who sends out magic and stuff to let other people know about a party, and I'm just thinking, cool, the guy invented the mail system. I think there was a good premise to Lightlark. I thought the ending of Lightlark was pretty crazy, and I appreciated that Nightbane picked up right where it left off. But Nightbane really lost me entirely. I just did not care at all about that book, and they're not my thing. Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. She's cute. I think Lynn Painter books in general are just cute. I think they are cozy rom-coms. I think if you want a good chuckle and you want a nice love story, I think you can't go wrong with a Lynn Painter book. I think they're very cute. They're very lighthearted. I'm not like a big rom-com fan, but I would definitely recommend the books to you. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Oh my gosh, guys, we're moving another one up. We're moving another one up. Lives rent-free. This is my most recent 5-star book. I think the whole chemistry between the two characters is phenomenal. If you are an active service girly, you'll love Daniel. The whole story is just perfectly written. I strongly related to our FMC. I loved our MMC. It's my very first Abby Jimenez book that I've ever read, and I will be reading a lot of her this year. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Oh my gosh, I love this book, but you know what? I'm gonna put it in a reread. I would love to reread Book Lovers and Beach Read again. Book Lovers is more of a, they're both grumpy, and they both know what they want. I like Charlie. I like Charlie a lot. I love the town that they're in. I feel like I rushed this book. I loved Book Lovers. I think it was really good. Dead Romantics. I was disappointed. Dead Romantics is good, I suppose, but I DNF'd it because I just didn't connect at all with our main character. I think it was supposed to be like a rom-com. I don't know. Me and the Dead Romantics didn't click very much. It's just very obscure. Like, I'm pretty sure our main character falls in love with a ghost. So, I mean, if that's up your alley, go for it. Belladonna. Oh my gosh. I loved this book. This was so fun. Our main character Signa has had so many issues in the past, and people just in her family keep dying. Her and Death have like this really different relationship, and I really like it. And at the same time, she's solving a murder mystery at Hawthorne because that's her new house that she's staying at. It's very entertaining. I really liked it. I want to read the next book. All right, If He Had Been With Me. I think this was an overhyped book talk book. Honestly, why was it though? I know this is a young adult romance novel, okay? Like, I get it. And I guess if you are that age, as the main character is, and then you read the book as that age, I think it would hit. I'm in my mid-20s, so I don't relate anymore. And I don't like young adult romance books. I just feel like I grew out of those, you know? I didn't like our main character very much. I found her very obnoxious, and her wearing tiaras all the time made her feel very childish. I'm aware she's a young adult, okay? Her group of friends were kind of annoying. I didn't like it very much. Jeanette McCurdy's I'm Glad My Mom Died. Now, this is kind of hard because I don't like rating like memoirs and stuff. It's mostly nonfiction I don't like to rate because it's like real things happen to people. I really liked this book. It was very impactful for me to know about what was going on in Jeanette's life, her coming to the acting world, and then how her family life and dynamic was, and her growing up as a Mormon, how her mom was a massive impact on her life. And then obviously you know her from Sam and Cat and iCarly. If you all know about Nickelodeon, then you know. These kids went through so much stuff. It's shocking to hear it, especially when you hear it through her own mouth because she narrated the audiobook. I really like that book. Okay, Things We Got Over by Lucy Score. This is kind of hard because Things We Never Got Over is kind of disappointed me because I feel like it was too long of a book. I would say both this one and Things We Hide from the Light are cute. If you like small town romances, I think you'll really like these. I think I definitely like these ones more than By a Thread by Lucy Score. Things We Got Over, I definitely liked more. I feel like Things We Hide from the Light was a cookie cutter version of the first book. It's just different characters. And the problem I had with the first book was that I was not rooting for our main MMC. I wanted his brother. I just find her books very like graphic. The guys are just very lusty and their parts are always standing on end. And I just don't want to read that. It just makes me think they're a dog in heat. Next one would be Stephen King's Fairy Tale. This was so much fun. Grim, dark fantasy. It is so much fun. You're following this boy named Charlie. It has like this neighbor who's old. For some reason, like the shed is being really weird. He goes and opens it and like explores down below and finds there's this entire world in this guy's shed. It's so insane. Stephen King writes such good books, and if you don't like his horror books, please try his fantasy books instead, because they give you the Stephen King storytelling aspect without the gruesome, gory stuff. I mean, it is gory and stuff because it's a grimdark, but the fantasy books are easier to chew. I had a lot of fun reading this one, and if you're new to Stephen King, I would honestly, do an audiobook, Pet Sematary, or Fairy Tale. Try one of those first. Please, they're so fun. It was such a good time. House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Also, I loved this. Are you noticing that I don't have a lot of books that live rent-free in my brain? Because a lot of them don't. This was my first 5-star of the year. I literally just made a joke about books don't live rent-free in my brain. This one actually kind of does. I am always thinking about the ending of this book, about how it was written, and I just love it. The main character is such an anti-hero in a way, and I really loved it. Say You Swear. She's cute. I feel like the author just took a whole bunch of tropes and like put it in a basket and then shook it and then randomly grabbed some and like said these are going to be in the book. It's also said it's supposed to be a love triangle. Definitely not. If you know that it's very Wattpad-y, I can see why a lot of people would die defending this book, and I can see why a lot of people would really despise this book. It felt like watching a train wreck. I felt like I was turkey necking, you know, when you see like you're on the freeway and there's someone like gets hit by a car and there's a bunch of cops and you have to slow down and look. That's kind of how I felt about Say You Swear. It was fun. I had a good time. Train wrecks and car crashes are not a good time though. I don't think I'm going to continue the books series at all unless Brady's book comes out. Brady was my favorite character and I want Brady's book. Someone give me Brady's book. Mistborn. Oh my god. You know, I don't know where I would put it, to be honest. I loved it. Like, I love Mistborn. This one was fun. It took me so long to read, though. Brandon Sanderson has very obscure magic systems, like, in general, with his books. This one has, like, medals. I just went down the TikTok rabbit hole of the Cosmere, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be in this. How do I start? And I loved it. It was really fun, and the audiobook was so good, too. I love Kel so much. I can't wait to see how the rest of the series goes. I just feel like I need to set some time aside for me to read Brandon Sanderson. Ricochet, Addicted to You, and Addicted for Now. We'll do all three of those at once. Ricochet was cute, but Addicted for Now is definitely my favorite. Addicted and Ricochet would definitely be She's Cute, because I think they're a really good beginning for the Addicted series, but that third book just sets it off, and I cannot believe I stopped there. I need to finish this series this year. Growth and development you get with these characters is so incredible. If you haven't read them before, you should give them a shot. They are fun, and I'm pretty sure they're all on Kindle Unlimited. Ooh, we're gonna hop into the Elsie Silver stuff. Yay, my fave. Okay, Bliss, Cade, and Willa. I would have to say I loved that one. I thought that one was really fun. Next one on here is Reckless. Theo Silva could literally do no wrong. I love that book. I will hear no negative words about Reckless. He said woof, and I said how tall, how high, where do I sign? And then we have Powerless. I liked Powerless, but not as much as the other ones. Hopeless. Also gonna have to go with She's Cute. I really liked Hopeless, but again, not as much as Powerless. Happy Places next? Oh, well, I did a reread. Crown of Midnight. Oh, are we just gonna jump right into Throne of Glass? I love these books, but so far, Queen of Shadows, pretty freaking top tier, dude. No, I'm gonna have to put this in. I love this. I haven't read the series all the way through yet, so I feel like it's saying it lives rent-free in my brain. It's just not a fair thing to say. The very first book I haven't read before was Queen of Shadows. Oh my gosh, the ending of that book was insane! I need to read the rest, but I feel like I have to take them in chunks because they'll be gone quick. And I don't want that. The Last Word by Taylor Adams. You know, I forgot you existed, but I would recommend it. The whole premise of she writes a 1-star review and then the author finds her and then comes after her is really good. I just think Taylor Adams has a weird way of writing. I just feel like there's a lot of extra stuff going on, or it feels like the scenes are being dragged out. I want the plot to hurry up. Darkest Shade of Magic books 1 and 2. Yeah, they're cute. I mean, they're not like my favorite fantasy books of all time, but they are very entertaining. They're very obscure. Like, there's different shades of London, and our main character Kel can jump in between all of them, and then he brings this girl home, Delilah Bard. I love Lila. She's a great FMC. I love Lila. And she's just this punky, no nonsense girl who just wants to be a pirate and take stuff and hurt people. I like these. I think they're really fun. I think they're a little underrated. I don't think a lot of people talk about them, and I think more people should pick up the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. All right, the next one, The Maverick. I think I'm gonna put that as she was cute. I didn't like it as much as the first book. It's small town, single dad trope, and the girl is from out of town. She's an actress. It was cute. I liked it. Britney Spears' memoir. I will also put, I love this book. Same thing as Jeanette McCurdy. Very eye-opening to hearing about the conservatorship. Britney went through a lot of crazy stuff, and her light was not painted well. Britney Spears' book was very eye-opening. I feel bad for her. That conservatorship was awful, and I'm so glad she's out of it. I'm glad she has freedom again. And all she really wanted was to see her kids. That's all she wanted. Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I had fun. Like, I think it was a good time. I just found it a little overhyped for me. I can see why a lot of people liked it though. But on the other hand, Reckless, that was so disappointing. With how Powerless ended, I expected so much more out of Reckless. We wanted more, I think, collectively out of Reckless. We liked Powerless, but we were upset with Reckless. Bright Young Women. I was very disappointed with this book, clearly, because that was my first DNF of the year. I just think it's a gross representation of actual real life issues that happen with a real life unaliver. The book was said to be a thriller. The book was so boring. Done and Dusted. I think this is cute. I think it was targeted as a slow burn. Definitely was not a slow burn. It felt very quick, but I think it was cute. Dark Fae. Okay, I'm gonna throw this in the reread. So this is a recent soft DNF. Well, I started reading Dark Fae right after third book of Zodiac Academy. I don't know if I was like put off by the new characters of learning stuff or that it's a reverse harem. I'm finding that I just don't care that these characters are gonna get their ending spoiled for me, because I've read 3 books of these other characters already and I love them and I want to know what happens to them. I don't particularly care about the prequel people, so if their ending gets spoiled in the series and I end up liking those characters, then I'll go back and reread the prequel. The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. Honestly, I forgot you existed. I think it was fun. I just found the book kind of meh. I don't know. I read it for a video and I felt bad telling her I didn't like the book very much. Felt like a murder mystery book, cozy mystery kind of feel with a little bit of angst. If you like cozy mysteries, I say go for it. Darling Venom. I think this is a really good book. I gave it a really high rating. It's very dark. You need to check your trigger warnings for this book. I did love this book. It's very dark though, and I'm really glad it's a standalone. Our FMC meets this guy. They're both in a very dark place in their life and they both talk each other off of a ledge. Literally, she has a lot of issues going through and then she ends up meeting that guy's brother and he's got a lot of issues. Heartbroke for these characters. When She Was Me. I forgot you existed, but I recommend. The plot twist got me, and it's a debut novel, and it's a thriller. If I tell you any more about this book, then it will 100% spoil it for you. It's a good book. I think it's a lot of fun. We read it for book club. When you think you got it, you don't got it. And everything hits at that point. And it's crazy. Funny story. Yes, it was a funny story. Indeed. Daphne and Miles are beautiful. I love them so much. And A Funny Story holds a special place in my heart because I read this on my honeymoon. The Brutal Prince. You know what? I need to finish this series. If you like dark romance, and you want to try dark romance, this book is for you. It is not that dark, and I think it's a really good time. It's a marriage at convenience, and our MMC is kind of an ass, but our FMC is pretty great. She carried the book, that's for sure. I think it was cute. I had fun reading it. I think you should give the Brutal Prince series a try if you want to try a dark romance. It's very mild compared to all the other books I've read. We finally made it. Lights Out. Oh my god. Absolutely, that book lives rent-free in my head. Are you kidding me? All those audios now show up on my For You page, and I cackle every time. I love that book. As soon as I finished that book, I went and bought a paperback because I need that on my shelves. That is such a trophy. I had so much fun. I don't care that the ending was a little bit different or longer than it should have been or people lost the plot or whatever. I think the whole book is so good. One of the best books of the year. Hands down. You want to try out dark romance? Try this one. It'll make you laugh. You'll have a great time. I promise. Phantasma. She cute. The one problem I had with the book was the ending. Because of how that ending was, it was so crazy. And there was so much information we were getting, and there's only a few pages left of the book, and I would have read an entire book based off of just that ending alone. Phantasma's fun. I feel like a lot of people call it like a dark caraval. I would say it's a dark caraval, but put a little bit of Saw in it. Purely because of like the actual trials that they go through. Like these people actually die. I think it was really fun though. I would just call it like a dark romantasy. We'll go that route. The Christmas Tree Farm. You know, I forgot you existed, but I would recommend it. It's not really a disappointment because it's supposed to be like a Hallmark movie vibe. I don't know. I feel like the beginning of the book was okay. Our FMC's a little unlikable in the beginning, and our MMC is definitely like a people pleaser. The problem I had with the book is how the chapters were written. We have split POV, but all the scenes are really dragged out. Like you want the next part of the book to continue. I think the spice in this book was 100% unnecessary. I think this book would have hit more and I would have enjoyed it more if it was a closed door romance. I think it was like misplaced and off-putting for the entire like cute Christmassy atmosphere. And I don't like Christmas books in general, but when else am I gonna read The Christmas Tree Farm except during Christmas? I'm not gonna read it in February. If you like Hallmarky books, go ahead. If you like small town, go for it. But there's a lot of other small town books, small town romances I think that are better. The girl's trying, you know, we can't hate. We're gonna do The Love Wager and then we'll do Little Stranger because I feel like I can't end this on The Love Wager. The Love Wager will be She Cute. I think it was cute. I should have put it at the same time as Mr. Wrong Number. If they're cute, they're a good time, fast-paced rom-coms. And now our last book, Little Stranger. Okay, so this can go in a lot of places. This book could go in It Lives Rent-Free in My Brain, but not for the reasons that you're thinking. I love this for reasons that, yeah, or honestly why. Like it could go in any of these. Because this book is so deranged. I saw Larry's ranking video. Malachi Weiss is so misunderstood and he's so cute. He's definitely a cinnamon roll boy. I just need to let you know that I can't listen to the Itsy Bitsy Spider again or look at a screwdriver the same ever again. This book is insane. Like, it's insane. But I loved this book. Where am I gonna put this? Because, like, it does live free in my brain. Is it because of the dying corpse? I don't know. Is it because of the screwdriver? I don't know. I loved it. I did. I really liked it. This book is not for everybody. It really isn't. And you know what? I think life's too short to not enjoy books. So I'm going to enjoy my nasty little book. And he is misunderstood. Malachi Weiss is very misunderstood. And more people need to understand he's just loving. He's a loving individual. But yeah, here is our final tier ranking of all the books I read in 2024. In 2025, I like to hope that I get more 5-star reads. That would be very nice. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to hit like, follow, and subscribe, and do all that YouTube stuff that you know how to do because you guys are really good at that. And don't forget to hit that bell because you'll be notified every time I upload. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys. Be safe. I love you.